Penny Bloom was 40 when she and her husband Stephen learned she was pregnant with their third child. The news came on the heels of 2 miscarriages, one that nearly took Penny's life.
I nearly bled to death, and we were told it would be highly unlikely to have any more children.
We did want to have more kids, and for 10 years, nothing happened, and then poof, here comes Stephen.
They were ecstatic to learn it was a boy. Then, an ultrasound at 17 weeks revealed that their baby had a hole in his heart.
Here we're finally pregnant, and then, oh gosh, there's problems.
Later, they learned his kidneys weren't functioning properly because he wasn't producing amniotic fluid, and experimental surgery was his only chance to live.
They said his lungs wouldn't develop. I was just devastated. My husband was devastated. We had to come home and tell our girls, ages 9 and 14. They each went to their rooms and they cried, and it was just a whole whirlwind of emotions. We asked for prayers from our church. We would pray every night as a family. We just started praying healing scriptures over our son.
The couple went to California for the in vitro surgery, but the baby's kidneys had been damaged too much. The doctor told the family little Stephen would not survive after delivery.
He said the most humane thing that you can do for your son is to just let him pass. We received a call from a hospice nurse, and she was wanting to help us make plans for what to do, at his death. And I said, we're speaking life over our son. We're believing our son will be healed, and we don't want to be involved with any words of death over him.
The Blooms urged their church, friends, and family to continue praying for little Stephen. They also took comfort watching the 700 Club and praying with the prayer partners at CBN.
Pat and Gordon, they taught that, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's what Jesus taught us to pray. There's no illness in heaven, and I would relate that to Stephen. There isn't kidney disease in heaven.
Stephen was born on August 20th, 2010, 4 weeks early. He was rushed to the neonatal unit at Omaha Children's Hospital. Stephen and Penny waited and continued to pray and trust God for a miracle.
The doctor said, we don't think he's going to make it. And every hour she would come in to give me a report, and it was a negative report. And I would look at the doctor and I would say, is he alive right now? And she would say yes. And that's all I need to know.
Little Stephen lived through the night, but his survival was a day-to-day battle. The doctors discovered the hole in Stephen's heart had somehow repaired itself. But after 3 weeks in ICU, his heart stopped. The staff started treating him for low blood pressure, but were unsuccessful. Again, the Blooms prayed.
There was a cardiologist that had nothing to do with Stephen, had never seen him, just happened to walk through the NICU and saw the commotion that was going on.
That doctor intervened immediately.
It was discovered that our son's blood pressure got too high. They thought he didn't have a blood pressure when actually it was so high that it caused his heart to stop.
The staff tried this approach and brought Stephen's blood pressure under control.
When they told me what this gentleman had done, that to me was the miracle.
After 6 months, Penny and Stephen brought their son home, but it was touch and go for a very long time.
His kidneys were so very badly developed in that they had little hope for function and would require dialysis for a very long time before he would be able to have a transplant. We felt it was extremely unlikely that he would be able to survive long enough to reach transplant.
When we brought him home, he was on a dialysis machine 12 hours every night and a feeding pump 22 hours a day. It was really difficult. A friend sent Matthew 21:22 to me, if you believe you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. And I just clung to that scripture.
Stephen's kidneys responded to the dialysis and began to develop normally. Penny was a match for a transplant, but transplanting from an adult to a child was risky. But Stephen was running out of time. On his 4th birthday, they went forward with a procedure.
The surgeon came out and sat down with me, and he said that we were able to hook her kidney and sew it to the bladder just like I would with any normal transplant. And he was very surprised that he was able to do that.
And the transplant was virtually flawless. You couldn't have asked for a better outcome. He recovered quickly.
Today, Stephen takes anti-rejection medication, but is otherwise a healthy, happy 5-year-old boy. The Bloms are grateful for the heroic efforts of the staff at Omaha Children's Hospital.
The fact that he was able to have all of these things fall into place over such a long period of time with so many hurdles and so many difficulties is truly extraordinary. It doesn't happen that way.
Ultimately, though, the couple believes the miracle of their son's life came from God and the power of prayer.
You know, nothing is too big for God, and He wants the best for us. It was only God. It was only God.